Hello, my name is Phil Snell. I'm a mandaholic. Hello, welcome to episode 4 of my mandolin exploration. You've probably noticed that I'm not really teaching, I'm just giving you pointers. I'm very strongly autodidactic. I think I like to just learn stuff, by absorption rather than be taught rote. So I hope you're coming along with that as well. I'm very happy to answer questions or even make separate videos if you want something that's more in depth. Maybe some fingering or something on a tune or something. Just let me know, it's fine. One thing I didn't talk about was the action. The action is the distance between the strings and the fretboard. It's good to get it right. This mandolin was set by the factory and it's perfectly good. I couldn't tell you what the measurement is. A luthier knows, the luthier would know all of these, but I don't. This particular mandolin, you can adjust the bridge if you don't like the action. So you can do things with it, but it's best to get it done by a professional if you're not sure what you're doing. Or it's definitely essential that you have it done by a professional. You can, if the action's too high, the bridge might be adjustable, but also there's a truss rod, and that might be wrong. And in the very worst case, they might have to reset the neck. All of that's possible. There will be a trade-off between the value of the mandolin and the value of the job, but it is doable. There are many good luthiers about. There's Mark Challoner, he's in Silston, and there's Jan Neild in Leeds and Potter Newton, and Kate and Steve Phillips up in Robin Hood's Bay. Bill Dinsdale, I think he's in Keighley. There's a good few about. If you ask people, they'll know. So it's worth doing. The other thing is fretwear. If you play a mandolin a lot, if you pull a string to the side, you'll be able to see where it's worn away. And there's a point, if it wears away too much, it just buzzes. And that's the time to get new frets. And again, it's not a scary procedure. A luthier will be able to do it, and it's not massively expensive. Worth doing. Keep the instrument in good shape, and you get nice clean notes, and everything sounds good. So it's a good thing. So that's that. Now, I've talked about the plectrum before, various things, but I didn't go that deeply into it. So let's work on that and how to hold it and what to do with your wrist. Some people play from the arm like that. It's not the way I play, although if I'm playing a tune, I tend to rest my hand on here and do it that way. Some people get wooden things to go here to rest their arm on, but I've never felt the need for one myself. But if I'm strumming, that's kind of arm and wrist. It's got it's that sort of action. But so there isn't, as far as I'm aware, a hard and fast rule about this, and I think you should do what's comfortable, but try not to be stiff and don't be rigid, because that doesn't sound good ever. So that's that. When you're coming up or learning or trying out new plectrum techniques, the best thing to do is start slow and speed up. So if you play the scale of D, and so on and so forth, and get faster and faster. And it helps, again, when you're playing tunes, it makes it easier. Scales are great. I keep saying this it's because it's true. Various techniques. I've made a little list here. There's vibrato, which I tend not to use a lot, so consequently I'm not very good at it because I don't hardly ever use it. And that's, you'll have heard it in Neapolitan playing. And the way to do that is, it really is just up and down. And holding the plectrum quite loosely helps. Well, certainly for me. If I hold the plectrum rigidly, it tends to stick on the string, whereas if I keep it nice and loose, I don't really be able to see that. The plectrum actually is flexing, and that way you get a nice smooth sound. Sorry, that's a bit ropey, but because I don't do it very often. I might do it at the end of a phrase. I might go, or something like that, but that's all. There are people who play entire tunes like that, and it sounds great. I like to listen to it. It's just something I don't do. There's another one. Some of these are well, I play the fiddle, and I've borrowed them from Fiddle Technique. One is the shuffle in there's the Ted Hawkins rag. This is a B part, so it's going. It's quite nice. You've got that dang 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 and the going on in the background. So it's just on a little G chord, a 2-note chord. So it's quite useful in various tunes. So I use that quite a lot. Things like that. It's quite good, useful on that. The other one is cross picking, which is that's a G chord. I'll talk about chords later maybe. So it's G, B, and G. So it's missing the D, but it doesn't matter. The D is there, but we're not using that right now. We're just using these three. So. You can use this as part of an accompaniment to a tune. If somebody's on the guitars playing chords, you can use it, and it sounds quite pretty behind. And you can change the chords, so that's a G. You could do a D. Or an A. Or whatever. So that's a nice technique. And again, all it is down, down. Again, can you see? Like that. I think I mentioned earlier that I use that in tunes as well. Whiskey Before Breakfast, which is well, that run actually is chord-wise. It's G. D, A, D. So you could do. So you're doing cross picking all the way down. So slowly it'd be. Which is nice, you know, and it just adds colour to the tune. I'm all for adding bits to the tune to make it just add, you know, it's very much in the tradition of folk music. So, good. The strumming, you can do chops like in bluegrass music. For that, it's worth getting all of the big chords. There'll be chord charts out there on the internet and you'll be able to find them. If you know the notes that are in chords, like it's the first, third and fifth in a major chord, first flat and third and fifth in a minor chord, and you can figure out the notes, you get your own fingerings. Quite often, if I'm playing in a band, which I often do, when I play chords behind things, I hardly ever play a whole chord. So only occasionally. I'm quite often just playing 2 notes, and I'll be moving around. I'll be, I don't know, if there's a transition from G to C, I might go... or something like that, or whatever. There's already a bass playing, there's a guitar playing the whole chord. You can get away with playing not all of the chord, and it sounds fine. So that's chops. Then there's sort of that sort of thing for, you know, that sort of folky kind of 60s revival folk sort of playing. Which is fine. It's all very good. And yeah, I mean, you can do sort of notice I'm damping. It's probably because I'm a guitar player as well. That comes out. there's a massive variety of things you can do. It's a great instrument, mandolin. I also talked about the left hand. There are things like pull-offs. On the intro to these videos, I do a bit of the woodchopper's reel. Well, I do pull-offs on that quite often. Not every time, just a bit variation. So I'm going. So I'm only playing one note, but you get two. So it's. Which sounds great, I think. And that's really nice little technique. I use that a lot. Then there's rolls, which are very much used in the Irish tradition. In the lilting banshee, that's quite a nice thing. Sorry, I'm not playing very well, but it's because I'm thinking about what I'm saying to you. There's slurs, so I've talked about those as well. So I'm going up to the root note like that, and I'm sliding into the third. So they're quite useful, and there are other ones you can go. So it's pretty much a guitar technique actually that I've stolen. And then there's flicks. I can't think where I use one of them. Yeah, I use them when I'm doing like little solos. Glissando, of course. So it's a very useful technique. I often finish, or in the middle of a tune, if there's an open A or an open D, I often play the string below and slide it up because you get this extra powerful sound. So that's quite useful. So I keep talking about scales, and I'm not going to stop it because they're really, really good. So, B flat. Okay. You can play that in position. So that means you can play any key, sort of awkward keys like C sharp. Which is very useful, and that's playing in position. And again, it's that being strict about where you put your fingers. So if you keep going up, that takes you right up the scale to 2 octaves worth in pretty much one compass. So that's quite useful. So you could play. Let me think. Try this, Salmon Tails in position. Like that. You might not want to do that, but it means you can move things around occasionally. And if somebody's playing in a weird key, you should be able to, you stand a chance of doing something at least, playing a bit of melody or a solo or whatever. I'm quite well. I do a lot of solos in band situations, and I tend never to play the tune, or at least I maybe play it once, but I generally don't play the tune. I generally play something that alludes to the tune, but it actually goes around it. So that's quite useful. That was my phone. So, tunes. The mandolin is very, very versatile. You can play tunes from anywhere in the world. And you can play fast tunes and slow tunes. that's the African Farewell. That's Midnight on the Water. You can play Irish tunes, so like a jig. Another Irish tune, like an Irish reel. There's loads and loads, there's thousands of those tunes, and many Irish sessions around the country. There's one here in Otley where people play those tunes, and yeah, they're quite fun. I don't actually know that many because I've never really got into the Irish thing, but you know, I've got a few and I enjoy to join in. You know, you play hornpipes. Or you could play, I've got a list here, let me see, Scottish tunes. Or Cape Dalrymple. Yeah, kind of like that. Sorry, I got a bit wrong there, never mind. American tunes, I mean, again, thousands of these. This is probably more my speciality. This is a tune I've picked up recently called Dubuque. And so on. These tunes, quite a lot of them, there are many tune books about. The Fiddler's Fake book's actually quite a good resource, although watch out, the chords aren't necessarily the chords you'd want to play with some of the tunes. They're not perfect. But it is nonetheless a good resource, and it's worth checking out. What else did I put? That Woodcutter's Reel, that's a Labastrang. That's an interesting tune. On the B part goes, which is the chords of that would be D and C. So when you're playing the tune, you can actually put the chords in it. So that's quite fun. In the American tradition, there's actually in the Irish tradition too. There's a lot of what they call modal tunes, which is a bit weird because all tunes are modal. Major tunes are in the Ionian mode. So this is Mixolydian. It's June Apple. Oh, it's interesting that the B parts sounds more majory than the A part. There's quite a lot of different bits of technique I let slip into there. Just fall from my fingers. That's the A part. It's really quite hard to play because you've got to keep the pulse in the music, the sort of strong offbeat. Just to give it that lilt, you know, because it's basically a dance tune. So it's a really good Plectrum workout. It's a lovely tune. I love it. It's a great tune. It's a good workout for your left and right hands. So that's a good thing. I just feel as though I'm rushing through all of this stuff, but I hope you're getting what you need out of it. So I think I'll play a tune, and then I've got a couple of resources to mention, and then we'll call this one a day. So this is a tune that I play almost every time I perform live on solo. The Arkansas Traveller. Arkansas Traveller. So I was going to talk about resources. Hilary James and Simon Mayer are mandolin enthusiasts, very good people, extremely entertaining. If you ever get a chance to go and see them, do. You'll be able to find them at www.mandolin.co.uk. They do workshops, although obviously this year it's off. There was supposed to be one in Settle last week or the week before, and that sadly was cancelled. But hopefully next year they'll pick up. And they're very engaging people and thoroughly fascinating about the mandolin. Hilary has a bass mandolin. It's the hugest thing you've ever seen. It's massive, and they both play brilliantly well. The Sore Fingers, that's www.sorefingers.co.uk, and they have workshops and so. There are lots of bluegrass old-timey festivals around and Irish ones, and most of them have workshops with very good players who'll be able to help you with whatever level you're at. And it's always good to see good players, and they're very sociable. They're great. Go to them. Very good. So that's it for this episode. Maybe this is the last one. I don't know. But please contact me if you want to know anything else, and we'll take it from there. And hopefully I've spawned some more mandolin players, which is a good thing. This is contagion that we can deal with. Okay, another sunny day here in Yorkshire, so I'm going to go sit in the garden and do the Guardian crossword and drink coffee, or maybe tea. Cheers, bye.